a lot of the infrastructure because they had previous privileged access to this. So in the last few months, there have been at least 1,100 YubiKeys sent out to Ukraine through the consortium that we have been supporting. And they have made sure that if there is a gun on the head from this Ukrainian soldiers or the telecom operators or the public utility operators, they can crush this YubiKey and remove access. And so that, even if they're willing to do this, which I really, you have to admire the courage of these people. But overall, they had to make sure that their cyber attack that's preceding the physical assault doesn't really, open up the doors for them to take over the infrastructure. So I hope Kirill's remarks, and in his story drove home a point of how can we learn from the toughest situations that we can protect our infrastructure. When I talk about infrastructure, I really mean the entirety of the 16 critical infrastructure, and across those, there are so many cross connections. Well, as we open up the day-to-day to this live audience and the audience assembled here, I wanted to bring forward, one of the leaders of this community who has kept it together and also made a real name for the cyber city that it is today. So please join me in welcoming Mayor Ron Nierenberg as he shares his remarks with us in this August occasion. Sir, so good to have you. Welcome to Cyber Future Summit. We are so pleased and so glad to have all our members here, and those that are joining us online are looking forward to know more. What's the secret of San Antonio? How did this community get into cyber? Military city, cyber city, and the whole infusion and the inspiring stories, the kids that we met yesterday, all this, maybe you can wrap it up in a package for us, and we could take this model to the other parts of the world and share with it.
Well, we're very excited. We're very excited to have you here. So welcome to San Antonio. I'm very happy to share our story. My name is Ron Nierenberg, Mayor of the City of San Antonio. So again, good morning. And if I had to wrap it up in one word, what is the secret to San Antonio's success? It would be teamwork. Teamwork and collaboration. And as we know, nationally, we are building a pipeline of talent for cybersecurity, which is our greatest and most desperate frontier globally. But we are doing our part here in San Antonio. And I know you've had a productive conference this week already, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you briefly. The Cyber Future Foundation is engaged in important work that will help guide us into a future with many variables and many uncertainties. But one thing is for sure, and that is that cyberspace and the cyber ecosystem generally are continuing to grow in importance and in influence. Our world is already changing dramatically as a result, and our community is positioned to benefit. San Antonio, you might know, has the second largest concentration of cybersecurity talent and organizations in the country. Only the Washington, D.C. national region has more. The 16th Air Force, NSA, Texas, and many different NSA-accredited universities serve as the bedrock for this burgeoning cybersecurity community, and of which we are very, very proud. But we should not rest on our laurels. San Antonio has formed an incredible ecosystem in cybersecurity. We know we are well positioned, but San Antonio is also focused on pushing the envelope. The country is witnessing a surge in demand for cybersecurity talent. And we have a critical mass of resources in San Antonio, but the country needs more as we see more threats from nation states and sophisticated cyber criminals evolve and become more sophisticated. I'm very proud to say that work to create a pipeline of talent for the next generation begins at the very earliest levels in San Antonio. In fact, as the father of a newly minted high school freshman, I'm very pleased that his school is focused on cybersecurity. In fact, just last night, I had to pick him up from one of our amusement areas in town. They were not there to be amused. They were there to be sitting across the table from the future employers that they might be working for someday as a mentor-protege program in the Cyber Patriot process here in San Antonio. Brought together all the kids from the local high schools to learn about the career fields that are available in cybersecurity. And I can tell you as a father, but also as mayor of San Antonio, I told him if he continues to be interested in that field, continues to get good at it, he can write his ticket for the rest of his life, and he'll also make our nation safer. This is all happening in San Antonio, and we are certainly very proud of that. Here in San Antonio, we are known as Military City USA and Cyber City USA, and we are making progress as a community. If there's one common thread, again, it's teamwork, but it's that also throughout the history of San Antonio, we have been the bedrock of our nation's defense. And so witness the RSOC, the Regional Security Operations Center across the street here from Port San Antonio, in Port San Antonio. The RSOC is a collaborative effort between the City of San Antonio, Bexar County, CPS Energy, the San Antonio Water System, Port San Antonio, and numerous other governmental organizations and authorities to help protect our communities. The vision for the RSOC is to ensure that the cyber talent, those folks who are charged with protecting the infrastructure and the service and the community of our city here in the cyberspace arena, are working together collaboratively, monitoring threats, addressing challenges all together and combining their expertise in one place. This tighter cooperation is needed to make our community more resilient in a riskier world, given that we are Military City USA. But on a community standpoint, it is also because of the fact that many of those organizations, in fact, most of those organizations are public, and their customers, their constituents are the citizens of this very community. If there are major cyber events, we want to be resilient as a result of community, as a community, and to withstand any attacks. And we know that every emergency, every disaster always carries with it a component of dynamism that ultimately ends up in the defense in cyberspace. Also, we need to double down on the commercial sector to attract more venture capital and talent. Our economy rests on our ability to be a burgeoning force in cybersecurity. Last year's successful acquisition of San Antonio's Denim Group was a great start, but we need a bigger pipeline of cool cybersecurity companies to attract the next generation of cybersecurity talent solving the biggest problems. The opportunity still exists to carve out a niche to be the cybersecurity startup to the region's growing technology community. And we know from DFW to Austin to San Antonio to Houston, there is incredible work happening in technology, and we want to be the talent hub for all that talent, for all of that incredible work. The Capital Factory and Generator are great examples of how we need to prime the pump to create a portfolio of successful San Antonio-based cybersecurity company. So during your conference here, I hope you learn more about the work that's happening on the ground to create an ecosystem for cybersecurity that's not only beneficial to the San Antonio community, our economy, our defenses, but also to the greater nation, and the work that we need to do together collaboratively across the country to ensure that we're best positioned for the uncertain future that lies ahead. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time, and we do hope you enjoy the conference right here at Port Tech.
All right, one more round of applause, please, for the achievements this city has had and the leadership that it shows. Everyone in this, in the organizations that we have worked with have exemplary leadership, and one great reason for us to be here, not only for this summit, but also follow up with all the work that we have planned and in advance for this city. So we are looking forward to engage on a long term. This is just a milestone. So thank you again. Thank you, Mayor, for having us in your city. So I wanted to go back to our sessions with respect to the structure that we've had is initially starting on the workforce side and then transitioning on to the business aspect. So this morning we want to kick it off with my good friend and really one passionate leader that I know who's invested in the long-term cybersecurity workforce, and that's Dan Victor. I'll let Dan introduce himself, But in short, briefly, what I can say is he has had an entire career of cybersecurity workforce development. And we